Welcome back to Big Mouth and welcome to my Chapter 5 reaction of the Snyder Cut. So this is the part, because we all know this part from Justice League, when Superman comes back and fights the League, the newly formed League. And most of that, I would say, kind of is similar, but there's plenty of different moments kind of put in there, which I find really, really interesting. Especially there's an incident with Cyborg who sees something that was very, very interesting. So we kind of know from this who survives the nightmare future and who doesn't, or who's there. So that's very, very interesting. And they yes, I'm not going to say too much about that, but yes, really, really good the way the whole thing is set up. But one of the things I'm just loving about this is every time I see Steppenwolf, I'm seeing the proper Steppenwolf. He is so awesome in this, and he makes to be a really, really good villain. I mean, he's not in it left, right, and centre, but there is something going on with this guy. There are layers there which I really like. So it's interesting if you compare what we had with the first Avengers and the enemy pretty much being Loki. But yes, I mean, we shouldn't really compare Snyder with Feige anyway. It's just two very different mentalities. But yes, again, it's interesting to look at what the theatrical cut did, Justice League, and what Snyder did here. So yeah, I didn't find that the actual fight was that different. It had some different contexts within the fight, but yeah, mainly definitely this version of the fight is a lot better than what Whedon did, and again, it's a bit more expanded upon. But yes, it kind of ends up in this film the same way as it did in Justice League, but in a better way, of course. So yeah, Chapter 5 is kind of interesting. It's got obviously a very tragic moment as well, which I'm not going to divulge. I know we all know what happens to Victor's father, Cyborg's father, but I don't want to go into it too much, just in case someone out there doesn't know. And so that's a really, really epic moment, and you kind of realise when you realise the twist of why he does what he does. It's brilliant, and so it's kind of an interesting arc, isn't it, between Silas and his son Victor. And look, Ray, it's true. Ray is the heart of this movie. Ray Fisher is amazing. They've really put Cyborg there in the centre, and I think it's fantastic. I really do. It works. I wouldn't say he's my favourite or anything. I mean, I love them all, and obviously I love Superman. Who is now back in the film. So that's very interesting. It's a shame people have kind of sports and things are telling us how long Superman's in the movie for. Listen, it is what it is. This was always going to be this way. We kind of knew it from the theatrical cut. When he was going to come back. I never thought that Superman was going to come back earlier. I think what we wanted to see was Henry Cavill's true features rather than that horrible upper lip embarrassment, and just to see Henry Cavill's proper performance as well, which he's been given the opportunity. And I know Henry's very grateful and very supportive of Zack Snyder, leaving a message on his Instagram, wishing him good luck, congratulating him, saying the film's fantastic. So look, that's great that the cast have seen it. It seems the cast are very happy. What happens next? Who knows? But yes, Chapter 5 is kind of the warm-up, isn't it, before we really get, I mean, is it 8 chapters? Something like that, I think. And so I'm getting there. I'm looking forward to completing the film, because when I get to a certain stage of a series or a film, I want to know how this ends up. So I know that we're going to get the nightmare future, which we just had a little flash of thus far. So I'm excited to see how that plays out. We know from the trailers what happens with Batman and a certain character being reunited. So I'm excited to see that as well. I'm assuming that's not till the very end. But yeah, I want to see how this final fight between Steppenwolf and the League plays out as well. I think that's going to be really interesting. So I'll be back for my Chapter 6 reaction. So far, so good. This is shaping up as one of my favourite movies ever.